The family members of two American veterans fighting over there say they've gone missing. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from central Ukraine with more on this. Hey, Molly, good to see you. So walk us through what we know about these two men. What were they doing in Ukraine? And how did they come to be missing? How do we find out they're missing?
Hey, Savannah, good morning. Nice to be with you. Look, the details that we have are just from those two families, as you mentioned. I can walk you through what we know. And of course, we are pushing for more details about what the circumstances were, where exactly they were fighting, where they might be right now. Their names, it's a 39-year-old man named Alex Drueke. He was a former U.S. Army Staff Sergeant who served 2 tours in Iraq, Savannah, according to his mother. Now, she said she last heard from him on the 8th, and then on the 13th, she got a phone call from someone who claimed to be a friend of his, one of his unit members, and said he had gone missing, that something had gone bad. They had gone out as a unit. There had been a Russian offensive, and he and one other man didn't come back. Now, we also know from another American family, the other man we believe is missing, 27-year-old former Marine Andy Ty Ngoc Huynh. And Savannah, I do just want to read, we interviewed Alex's mom overnight, and I just want to read one quick excerpt from her conversation. She talked about the last text message that they sent on the 8th. So he wrote and said, "I'll be going dark tomorrow, Mom, and possibly the next day." And I wrote back, and this is her speaking, "Stay safe and I love you." And he wrote back, "I'm sorry, I love you too." And that's the last she heard from him. So you've got two very, very worried American families right now. The Ukrainians, we are pushing for information here, but we don't know where they are right now, Savannah.
Oh, absolutely. That message just gave me chills. Just heartbreaking to hear. Now, what does the State Department have to say about all this?
That's right. So we've asked the State Department, and look, Savannah, we know that there are Americans here who have joined the Foreign Legion, who are volunteering, who are fighting alongside Ukrainian forces. So we know there are Americans in country. We've asked the State Department. They say they are aware of the unconfirmed reports of both Andy and Alex. They didn't even specifically say their names. They say they are monitoring very, very closely, of course. And they said due to privacy concerns at this point, they can't comment any further. Their blanket advice and their blanket statement kind of to Americans, though, is that it's really not safe, of course, for very obvious reasons, for Americans to come to Ukraine, and they don't condone it.
All right, Molly Hunter, thank you so much. Stay safe. Let's stay on this with Joe Cirincione. He's a distinguished fellow at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. Joe, good to see you. Always love when you join us. So let's start with these two U.S. servicemen. Now, the State Department has warned against Americans traveling there, as Molly just mentioned. But what do you make of this? I mean, do you think U.S. citizens who are watching this, who maybe are veterans, who have served, who are moved to go help Ukraine, should they be allowed to do so, or are there better ways to show support?
I think Americans who want to aid Ukraine, including by aiding them by fighting with them or helping to train them on how to use U.S. weapons, should be allowed to go. This is a war. There are going to be casualties. And in this case, the casualties are Americans taken as prisoners by the Russians. These two men were fighting up near Russian lines, up near Kyiv, a very tense period of fighting. I think they knew what they were going into. It's terrible that they've been captured. I'm afraid they're going to be used as pawns by the Russians now in their effort to try to get the U.S. and the West to back off on sanctions. Any release of these Americans will undoubtedly be conditioned to American loosening of the sanctions on Russia.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.